The fire is massive, and it's unexplainable. It's very unexplainable.
Flames and smoke shoot into the sky on Quincy's north side today as this huge fire took down a Quincy building that stood in parts of 3 centuries. Good evening. Tonight, the smell of smoke is thick in the air on Quincy's north side after a historic home goes up in flames.
All Quincy firefighters were called to 5th and Maple late this afternoon to battle one of the biggest fires they've seen in quite some time. We have live team coverage tonight. We begin with WGEM's Kendra Whittle, who's been following this fire from the very beginning. Kendra?
Well, Leslie and Matt, as you can see behind me, the house is still smoking and firefighters are still on scene. They probably will be on scene for quite some time, just working on getting those hot spots out, making sure the fire is completely out before they call it a night. Now, some road closures still in the area. 5th and Maple, this section over here, still closed down to traffic. However, 4th Street has just opened back up. Now, fortunately, at the time of the fire, this house was vacant, which is good because most of it was destroyed.
Noticed that it was a lot of smoke coming from the building here, and what I did then, I got on the phone and I immediately called 911.
But moments after that call was made to emergency responders, this was the scene at 5th and Maple. A cloud of smoke billowed out of the old house, making it nearly impossible to even see across the street. Glass shattered from the windows and doors, and the roof slowly caved in under the heat of the flames. Fire Chief Joe Henning says the fire was too dangerous for even firefighters to get inside or even very close.
Lieutenant Commander gave them a couple minutes to see if they could make some headway. They weren't able to make enough from a safety perspective, so we pulled them out of the building.
Henning says the fire appeared to be the strongest in the upper stories, so several hoses and a ladder truck were aimed toward the attic. Later, firefighters drew closer, busting windows to spray inside downstairs. But strong winds created even more worries.
But the bigger concern was anything going to go south? We have a heavy residential area, a lot of bigger, older homes there. The last thing we wanted was a fire starting something like that.
Standing off to the distance were Neil and Tony Hemming, who just bought the home back in December and had big plans for its future.
Just historic. It was a historic building, and we wanted to return it to its original glory and make it a really nice apartment building for people.
They say they are mourning the loss of such a beautiful home, but they said, more importantly, they're relieved everyone is okay.
Investigators were on the scene this afternoon. We'll continue to bring any updates on what they might find as they become available. Reporting live in Quincy, Kendra Whittle, WGEM News.
All right, thanks, Kendra. Here's more information we've learned about this building. The main part that burned tonight goes way back in Quincy's history. The home itself dates back to the 1800s. In January 1898, it became the Anna Brown Home for the Aged, named after the woman who left money in her will to turn her personal home into what was basically a nursing home. It stayed that way for several decades, eventually becoming an apartment complex for several years. But despite attempts to renovate it in recent years, the building has pretty much been vacant for the last 20-some years or so. Well, the fire didn't just affect the building's owners and emergency response crews. Several neighbors are dealing with that strong smell of smoke in their own homes.
WGEM's Nick Adams is live now with how the fire caused more damage than you might imagine. Nick?
Matt and Leslie, the fire may be out, but the smoke is lingering on, and homeowners in the area are telling me they're frustrated about how to get rid of it.
Very smoky. It's very smoky. My eyes are watering. Put it in my throat.
Vince Carter lives directly across from the building that caught fire. He says the smoke was overwhelming in his home.
It was as bad as the fire was out here. That's how it was in my house. I mean, we had to fan our way out.
Carter's also concerned about cleaning up the ashes that blew into his yard.
I asked questions, firemen and officials, you know, if there was some number I could call or somebody that would assist me with the cleanup, because I obviously am not a firefighter, so I don't know exactly what to do.
While the wind blew the smoke directly into Carter's house, he isn't the only one dealing with smoke. Residents living further away even say they smell it too.
The smoke was coming from my north side of my building into my windows, from my house, 7th and Cedar.
And Connie Schaefer says she knew there was a fire because she and her husband smelt it in their house too.
There's something smelling like trash. Somebody set trash on fire. And then I went on the porch and everything, I seen that black smoke.
As for Vince Carter, he's trying to do what he can to air out his home.
Now, neighborhood homes aren't the only thing affected by today's fire. When I was walking up here, I could actually see a layer of ash on some of the cars parked nearby. And reporting live here in Quincy, Nick Adams, WGEM News.